And 5. Hello and welcome to the last episode of the podcast for the recently deceased.
No!
For 2025!
Oh.
Gotcha. Okay. Now that we have that obligatory shock and awe out of our systems, we have the awards episode where we give awards to shows that we don't actually have. They're
I feel like we should have at least a
metaphysical
soundboard
awards.
that we don't have either. Like
Yeah, no,
sound
yeah.
effects.
I could just go like,
Trumpets blowing, drums rolling.
yeah, just like
Things like that.
loud crowd noise.
Yeah.
So many good movies this year. So many good movies. We're gonna do the best of. We're gonna do the worst of. We're gonna do some honorable mentions. We're gonna talk about some performances. I'm just gonna run down a list of great movies that you should see if you haven't seen, and may or may not be featured again later in the episode. This year we had Companion, Sophie Thatcher, and Quaid. What's his first name? Jack Quaid. Luc Besson did a Dracula remake. Stephen King put out The Long Walk and The Monkey. We got a sequel to Joe Hill's Black Phone 2. Osgood Perkins dropped The Keeper. Of PG-13 out of nowhere with Anya Taylor-Joy. The Gorge was so good. The Final Destination Bloodlines revitalized the franchise. Was the first good one since, I don't know, 3 maybe. It was.
Did you see that Final Destination?
Yeah, I loved it.
Wait. Oh, okay. I'm mixing Final Destination with 28.
28 years later. Yeah.
28 years later, 28 attempts to take moviegoers' money later.
Yeah. That's not on my list of good movies this year. 825 Forest Road was a indie gem. Then we had a couple, I don't know how to call them, crowd pleaser slashers in Hard Eyes and Clown in a Cornfield, as well as the video game adaptation Until Dawn. That is just to name a few. That is how good 2025 was for horror. If you haven't, thrown your hat in the ring, it is time. Take down this list, watch this episode, and watch some movies.
And let us know where we got it right. Let us know where we got it wrong. What's your top 5?
Yeah.
What's your bottom 5? What are your honorable mentions?
I mean, it's
let us know in the comments below.
It's definitely, art is subjective, and there's no right or wrong answer. There's just what I like and what you like.
Except for when I like something and when you don't. That's when subjectivity ends, objectivity begins, and there's just some weird Twilight Zone stuff going on.
Yes, I can abide your taste in art. Stephen Anthony cannot.
Very well said.
All right. Without further ado, we're going to start off with best performance of 2025. And
wow.
That means we give the honorable mention first. My honorable mention for best performance 2025 goes to Pete Davidson from The Home. This guy, dude, I never, ever thought I would ever say Pete Davidson was good at anything.
How dare you? His Hot Ones interview was amazing.
But let me tell you right now, his performance in The Home in general, as a under the radar indie or B movie, that's my honorable mention. Steven, how'd you do?
So I just crossed off my honorable mention for Pete Davidson in The Home. It's here.
You crossed it off because I gave it to Pete?
No.
Oh.
I just crossed it off, and I just realized that cameras don't pick up notebooks. I have it written down. I can take a snapshot and send it to you as proof. Best performance. I have my best performance. I got my honorable mention, Pete Davidson in The Home, and then I thought, no, I have to give it to Kelly Tran in Control Freak.
Oh, man. Yes, absolutely. What a great... I even forgot about Control Freak.
Pete Davidson was an
Yeah,
absolute boss in the home. He made that movie possible. But Control Freak, I remember we were raving about it at the time.
we
It didn't
were.
make my top five, but then I remembered it, and I had to put it in my top five. And just now, I'm going like I'm playing Cards Against Humanity, picking which card is better, and I'm just going between Pete Davidson, powerhouse performance, and there's some other powerhouse performance as well. Damon Wayans and him was also in my mind.
Marlon Wayans.
Kelly
But,
Tran though, just an absolute force of nature in that
oh,
movie. Just blew me
yeah,
away.
she was phenomenal, and I remember specifically like we brought up the backlash she got from her Rose character, and how like actors don't deserve that shit. It's not their fault the script is bad. It's not their fault the movie is bad. She
And
never
then she
should have.
came onto the set of Control Freak and said, "Let me show people what I can do,"
What
and she
I can
did.
do, and she fucking crushed it. Yeah, that was a great movie, and she was phenomenal in it. All right.
And it took less than 60 seconds for Haas to say, "Yeah, Stephen Anthony, you are correct," and I was in fact wrong.
Pete Davidson's still my honorable mention. I'm not changing it.
You have more principles than I do. I'm this subject. This list is subject to change.
Okay. Uh, Performance of the year. For me, this was a slam dunk. I didn't even have to think about it. We're going with Amy Madigan as Gladys in Weapons. Amy Madigan, who's
Oh,
uh,
sure.
a Hollywood elite. She was in Field of Dreams. She was in Uncle Buck. She comes out of nowhere and is completely unrecognizable in her transformation slash performance as Gladys. Um, yeah, man. If I could rate her performance separate from the movie, 10 out of 10, Amy Madigan.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said about Amy Madigan. I knew her from Field of Dreams. Yeah, I would say one of the scariest performances, other than the mom and Bring Her Back. Fantastic villain for me. Best performance, I got to give it to John Lithgow in The Rule of Jenny Penn. Lick her asshole still has me fucked up. It's
Uh, yeah, yeah.
ooh.
Yeah, John. I mean, John Lithgow's one of the greats. That movie was fantastic, of course, with Jeffrey Rush as well. And you got two powerhouse veteran actors from just like all over the place. Like their range is,
Hmm.
I mean, John Lithgow did TV sitcom for 10 years, and but he was the best Dexter villain. Like the the range on him right there is just phenomenal. And yeah, the liquor asshole was one of the funniest, grossest, creepiest, and really does stick with you of the year. Absolutely.
If I was going to make a distinction between our two picks, I would say it's the dialogue versus I don't want to say the performance. Her villainy for what was the character's name in Weapons? It was Aunt Gladys.
Gladys and Gladys, yeah.
Uh, it's rough. They're both high villains. I give her slightly better villain, but I give him just more dynamic dialogue, and I think that's the distinction between the two. That just
He definitely probably had more dialogue in the script. He probably had more screen time than Gladys did.
oh, definitely.
Gladys is a kind of a supporting role as the villain. There's
So
just
pound for pound, she's going to come in to make an impact that she makes
yeah,
with the limited screen time that she got. She doesn't show up until the fifth unnamed chapter.
yeah. Um, I think it was whatever, the seventh unnamed chapter. Anyway,
I think
uh,
not to rehash our review. They should have just put the weapon symbol up as the final chapter and just let it run out.
and let it roll. Yeah, I agree with you. Um, okay, we're moving on from performance to the worst
The
of
worst.
2025. My worst has a couple honorable mentions. The first one would be Wolfman. I think it was like the first horror movie of the year, came out in January. It was atrocious. It had what's her name, who I love from Weapons, actually,
Oh, no kidding.
Julia Garner, and she goes into like a cabin in the woods with her husband and daughter, and her husband gets turned into a wolf man, and not to be confused with a werewolf. There's like a werewolf, which is more wolf, and then there's a wolf man, which is more man. So this one was definitely Wolf Man as the monster. Terrible movie, completely terrible. I've already talked too much about it. It doesn't deserve this much discussion.
What Nate Roberts story did I read about a werewolf slash wolfman? I just read something.
Oh, Hunter.
Was that what it was? Is that in No One's Coming?
That's the second chapter or third chapter.
Yeah, I think it was like the second or third one.
Yeah.
Because that was good. So that you reminded me of that, but I was like, no, no. I was like, that wasn't the Wolfman. Somebody else. No spoilers. Was the Wolfman Nate story? But that was good. That was a good story.
Yeah. He retains enough of his manness to defend his family from the other wolf monster.
Oh,
None of that makes any sense as far as I'm concerned, and it was just not good. The other honorable mention for worst can't be the worst movie of the year just for its pedigree, but if I were to change the category to most disappointing, this would take the cake. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein was such a giant piece of shit. The people that are praising this movie as the next coming of Jesus Christ, it's like
sycophants.
yeah. Let me tell you right now, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it might be one of the most beautiful movies Guillermo's ever shot. People are praising Mia Goth. Her performance was atrocious. The only one who impressed me at all in that film was Oscar Isaac. The writing was bad. The story was bad. This was not a good movie. Please, please stop telling people it's a good movie.
And
um,
in a very similar vein, I think who's the guy that did Us and Get Out? Jordan Peele, right?
yeah,
He was talking about how the director of him is like the next tour de force in horror movies. He needs to stop that shit.
right.
So can we get less? Which we could argue about whether or not him was good, and we did. Um, but I think what you're talking about is, Hollywood has a tendency just to, you know, I understand not to burn bridges, especially in a community where networking is so important. Obviously, you
Yeah,
don't have to be a dick, but you don't have to go on the opposite side of the spectrum and just rave about something that is just not good. You're going to make yourself look like an ass. Just don't do it. You can have an opinion that radically differs from your podcast mate, and you can both be right. But neither one of us. I don't think either one of us this year have glowed about something that just obviously was not great.
right. No, I totally agree. Um, you know, even where we differ in like taste opinion, like the thing you're raving about is still really good. The thing I'm raving about is still
Mm.
really good, even if I
Yeah.
didn't like it as much as you did. And to take the cake, for me, the worst movie of 2025,
Here it comes.
The Strangers, Chapter 2. Um,
So I didn't see it, but we talked about this movie because The Strangers is one of the few horror movies before the recently deceased podcast that I did see, and that it
yeah.
did scare me. I remember the music playing for too long. I remember Liv Tyler's performance. I
Oh,
remember the
yeah.
guy from that werewolf Beckinsale, whatever that is, Underworld.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that movie, and I remember that little girl. Are you sure? At the door, creeping me out. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And apparently, the Strangers has a whole litany or history that
Yep.
you are aware of. I was excited for the sequel,
Yeah.
and then you shit in my cornflakes,
Yeah.
and I didn't even bother to go see it. How bad was it?
So to long story short or short story long, The Strangers original with Liv Tyler was amazing. Then they sequeled it, which was fine, and I think they might have made three. If they did, I didn't see the third one. It might just be two. Then in 2024, the lost year of the podcast would have been season four. The Strangers Chapter One came out, and I had the misfortune of seeing this in the movie theater. I had the good fortune of seeing it in the movie theater with three friends, and no one else was in the theater. So we laughed and just booed and talked out loud and joked through the whole time at how
You MST3K the movie. You
yeah, we
missed your second
MST3K
2000 movie.
yeah, because it was terrible, so bad. And now here's the messed up part is that the Strangers Chapter One and Chapter Two reboots. It's a reboot of the franchise. Are done by the same guy who did the original.
Oh,
and so it's like, how did you make this masterpiece, 10, 15 years ago, and go from that to this? So yeah, Strangers Chapter 2. Avoid it like the plague. Just watch the original Strangers and forget all the rest.
Forget all the rest. Without diving into it too far, would you say he got into his head for all the artists and creators out there? What was his fatal flaw? Because I
I
think about that with Independence Day. They made a movie like 20
Yeah,
years later, 25 years later, and obviously not an amazing film, but definitely so freaking enjoyable. And then 20 years later, just complete shit, just complete shit.
yeah. I think it was the remake was to appeal to a wider base. The original Strangers is very like I would call it like cult, and the the actors they chose are the younger, pretty CW style actors who all put in terrible like TV worthy performances. I'm talking like network TV with commercials worthy performances. Uh, and same with Stranger Chapter 2, and the script is a little more accessible. Um, it's not as creepy. It's more action. It's everything you don't want a horror movie to be. You don't want it to be commercial. You don't want it to be accessible, and in my opinion, you don't want a lot of action. Action horror for me is actually something a genre I'm going to talk about more when we get to our top five, because I did something I always do, and we'll talk about it more then.
Stay true to yourself and stay true to your art is a key for success. Haas, what's up next in our breakdown of 2025?
Well, I believe it would be your worst of 2025, my man.
If I was caffeinated and awake, it would be. My worst of 2025. Okay, so there's five of them. The third one is going to piss everybody off, especially you.
Yeah.
The fourth one's also going to piss people off. But the first two, I'm going to do it in reverse order because the first two really just. um, 825 Forest Road is my fifth worst movie of 2025. It tried, and I almost want to give it like an honorable mention for like the little horror movie that could. They did so many things right. They just missed. They just needed money, but everything that all the DNA you need to make a good movie was in there. They definitely gave a shit. Um, it just fell short. Him, my fourth worst movie. Oh God, go back and watch the episode that we did. Weapons is my third because there are expectations that you set. And that movie, I was like, fuck, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. And, but there's a huge, huge gap between 3, 4, and 5 and 1 and 2. Like a huge gap. 2 is so much worse than 3. And I'm going to do 2 last because it really pissed me off. The worst movie of 2025. I still remember walking into the theater. I have no idea where I was, but I remember what it looked like. I remember the old ladies talking about it in the bathroom with Jenny. Is Good Boy. That heap of shit. Anybody can make a movie now. Anybody can distribute it. God bless you. There's that line in Star Trek 6. Just because we can do a thing doesn't mean we should do a thing. So that's going to be a theme in my analysis and my breakdown. Which movies had too much Hollywood, sycophantic, whatever in it, and how many movies did not have enough. Because, yeah, you do need an executive producer or some kind of bean counter or an accountant to say, we need to polish this a little bit. This did not have any polish, just some guy filming his dog for 3 years, raving about his dog. I get it. You love your dog. But I don't know. You watch the trailer, 15, 20, 25 amazing reviews about the dog's performance, and you think you're going to go in there seeing a vehicle unlike anything else, and you get in there, and it's like, why is this 2-minute scene taking 6 minutes? What is actually happening here? Worst movie of 2025. The second, but the one that pissed me off the most, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I can't believe. And they were teenagers, early 20s, late teens, and one of them got up and said it was better than the original. and I never saw the original, and I knew she was full of shit. Like,
Oh,
what?
she was definitely full of shit. But quick anecdote. I went to my buddy's in Connecticut this week, and he has a 6 year old, so we watched Five Nights Part One because he loves that stuff. And in the rewatch, I remember enjoying it. I think I gave it a 6 for the podcast, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, this was so much better than the second one. The second one was so bad, like
Yeah, rewatching the first one makes the second one even worse.
even worse.
So I saw Black Phone 2, and then I watched Black Phone. Black Phone is a little bit better because of the way it's done, but it made Black Phone 2 better. And so I was able to like rewatch Black Phone 2 and just appreciate it even more. So Black Phone and Black Phone 2 completely different from Five Nights 1 and 2. Um, this movie did so many things. Did a couple things. The puppeteer is really cool. Different locations is really cool. Them shoehorning the explanation for those two in just ways that don't make any sense. Like, what the actual fuck? These things are big and clunky, and now they're stealthy. Just so many mistakes. That movie really pissed me off. Worst movie of the year. Good boy. Cannot go without saying Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Coming in a very, very close number 2. And I do mean number 2.
All right. Moving on. I would like to just give my international pick for the year before we move into our top lists and our honorable mentions. The Ugly Stepsister. If you didn't have a chance to see it, it was critically acclaimed. It wasn't as good as they said it was. It was a solid 7, I think. It's a slow burn body horror that really doesn't pay off until the end. And the end, if you are into it, the practical effects are so fucking disgusting. I mean, stomach churning, vomit inducing. Like, it puts you on the edge for a couple minutes. Is it worth the price of admission? For me, it was. For you, it might not be. So my pick for Best International, The Ugly Stepsister.
I do not have an international pick because I am not as learned as you are when it comes to this. However, I do have a Stuck in the Middle with You movies. I think that, like you mentioned, a few really, really great movies that just did not crack the top 5.
Right.
When I'm figuring out my top 5, I'm like, I got to put this in, but I can't. And it just, the top 5 got solidified kind of fast. Great movies: Clown in the Cornfield, The Gorge, Alma and the Wolf, The Woman in the Yard. I really, really, really enjoyed that movie. So that's probably going to top my movies that didn't make it list.
Sure,
and The Home, and Until Dawn, which I also
yeah.
really, really love for a commercial product that is obviously super, super commercial. I loved it.
Yeah.
So Until Dawn and The Woman in the Yard. Haas, any movies for you that didn't make the list that just stand out?
Yeah. Let me hit you with my honorable mentions real quick. For the most part, it was all those good movies that I listed at the beginning. They just didn't quite make it. But to differentiate a little bit, and without stepping on the toes of Steve and Anthony's top 5.
No, step on my toes. Step.
All right, fine. Then
I don't want you to alter your list. Stay true to yourself.
Then my honorable mentions would be The Rule of Jenny Penn, Borderline, The Home, and Alma and the Wolf.
Something about Alma and the Wolf. It was just, and I said it the second I watched it, I really want to rewatch that movie. I think that movie has depth to it and insight, and just, it gives you something to just sink your teeth into each time that you watch it. So I definitely want to revisit that one.
And our episode of it was excellent. We had Ari Loeb joined us, and
yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like we just built up a tension and a drama. Like, okay, we're not making these guys wait on purpose. We gave them the bottom 5 up front. We're not trying to jerk you around.
No, not at all.
But mentioning the stuff that didn't quite make it, I think built a tension for this top 5. Haas.
Okay, we're gonna start. Oh well, we're gonna start with number five,
Number five.
and um, and we're gonna start with Stephen Anthony's number five because that's how we do
Okay. Wow. I was trying to put it off on you.
it.
My number five is Control Freak.
Excellent,
Um,
excellent pick for number five.
just an excellent movie. When I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be my top pick for the year. Kelly Tran's performance definitely gets the honorable mention for me. Just oh man, just getting your finger and just scratching the back of your head until you put a fucking hole in your head. Just uh,
What a strange, simple concept that that ended up turning into a little bit of
it
like
sounds dumb, but
yeah,
it's so realistically done. It was so great and had so many metaphors, and that movie hit us both in ways that we both talked about it in depth, meaningful ways. Go back and watch the episode.
yeah.
Control Freak is my number five.
All right. Okay, and as I said before about action horror, it just doesn't, in my opinion, do it for me. It doesn't hit it so hard that it's the best of the best. So what I do is when I make a top five list, if an action horror movie deserves it, I always put it in the fifth slot. So that's why.
Never in
Uh,
the fourth slot, never in the third
no,
slot.
no, it's always in the fifth. It's got to be in the. It's still in the best, but it's the worst of the best just because it's action horror, just because the genre is it's just not that interesting to me. Um, so the fifth, my pick for five. This might upset some people, but that's okay. Especially based on award ceremonies that have already happened. My number five is Sinners.
You're right. That is going to piss people off. From my conversations with you, this movie probably thought of as the number one or best horror movie of 2025. Why does it not? Let me ask you this question: if it wasn't action horror, would it get a higher number from you?
Well,
A lower number, a lower number.
so then what? How does it right the ship? I mean, it follows a very similar formula to From Dusk Till Dawn, right?
Very, very similar.
Everybody's trapped. Eventually, the chaos ensues. The chaos goes till the end, and then you get a little wrap up. Um, and everything interesting in the movie is before the vampires show up. So if you finish that movie, you don't have a horror movie. You've got a cool period piece with, you know, what's his nuts playing twins. Uh,
Michael B. Jordan,
Michael B.
and
Jordan.
we did talk about the actress in that movie that
Oh,
pound for pound gave a fantastic performance.
she was
We
phenomenal.
this is like the third or fourth time we're talking about her.
Yeah,
So good.
she should be my honorable mention. I always forget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's up there with Pete Davidson and Kelly Tran for sure.
for sure.
And we apologize for not being able to pronounce your name. The Alzheimer's is kicking in for me. Haas doesn't have any excuse.
I'm bringing it up real fast because I want
Do
to
it,
know
do it,
it.
do
I
it.
want to say it.
So I will ramble a little bit more while you look her name
Please
up.
do it.
What would elevate the movie for me, because just pound for pound, she just that every line from her was just fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Every
just put
single
more
time she
of
was
a.
on, every single time she's on the screen, the movie gets elevated. I wish they did not use her for exposition.
Yeah.
We talked about it in the episode. I wish they would have trusted the audience to not have her browbeat us and explain shit to us that didn't need to be explained. Nevertheless, that's not her. That's the writer and or director. Phenomenal performance. Sinners will be in my top five. Wait for it. Haas, what's her name?
Wunmi Mosaku. And she is a phenomenal actress in everything she's done. She crushes it in Sinners. Best performance in Sinners
Oh yeah.
is definitely her character.
Oh yeah. Michael B.
Um,
Jordan was great, but her performance
yeah,
just
there was a lot of meat on that bone, and she just crushes it.
remember the name.
Yeah, because I won't. Uh, Stephen Anthony, you're number four, please.
My number four is Sinners.
Oh,
Um, I do not really make a distinction between horror, action horror. The Gorge definitely probably action horror. Aliens probably action horror. Slightly older than 2025. Um, I really liked this movie. It's just very, very enjoyable when it came out. When I watched it, I was like, "Is this the number one movie of the year?" And, at that time, I'd already seen Control Freak and some other movies. And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's probably gonna be like number two or number three." And as other movies came out, it just slid down to number four. It fought for its spot and it held on. But hey, it's not number five. Really, really good movie. Go see it. If you think it's as great as everybody else thinks it is, you should probably reflect on your life and make better choices. But it's still a really good movie.
Still a really good movie. Um, yeah, the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards this year, Sinners and The Substance pretty much swept everything, which didn't make any sense to me because The Substance was 2024, but they must have a weird, date
Yeah,
pylons
yeah.
that determine what's 2025 for them. Um, we go with official release dates here at the podcast.
I'm kind of amazed that Weapons didn't make more of an impact at those awards. That just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it made no sense. Um, my number four will be Together. Alison Brie
Great movie.
Franco. Great movie about codependency, about how relationships will stagnate, and it's up to both parties to put the work in to keep it fresh, to keep you guys together. No matter where you go, there you are. Just moving isn't going to change anything for the better necessarily.
It's
Um,
like people who, some couples will get pregnant to try to
yeah,
save relationships. Like, so
crazy.
at least this movie, they didn't like try to get pregnant or
Yeah.
get pregnant. They
Oh,
just moved.
I know what's going to fix our stressful relationship: adding more stress.
Adding a financial burden because of the great spiritual bliss that comes with it. No.
so, yeah. So excellent body horror, great story, great surprises, great performances. I mean, the,
Amazing performances by Alison Brie and
and
Franco.
Franco. I mean, they basically are the whole movie. There are not. There's like one other character.
Yeah,
This movie rests on their shoulders, and they deliver. If you
yeah.
have not seen Together, check it out.
Definitely go see it. I have another comment, but I'm going to save it for like 4 minutes from now.
When he tells his number three, probably.
It's not my number three,
All right.
which is
Which is
I've been waiting for this movie to come out ever since I read it. It is absolutely it's not the best of the Bachman books. Rage, Cadillac Man, which is garbage. Running Man, which they redid, which I wouldn't even bother because I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Way too much action in that one. But when you read the Bachman books, there's one story that just sticks out from how slow the tension is, and that is the fear behind it. Stephen King's The Long Walk. I absolutely loved it. Why is it number three, not number two, not number one? Mark Hamill gave an absolutely great performance, but nevertheless, I hate him. And yeah, that's it. It just
yeah, that's it. It's just Mark Hamill.
just Mark Hamill and a bigger budget. There were crowds in the book. There were
Yeah.
not crowds in the movie. So, like, a couple of the walkers are getting pissed off at Ray for having so many fans in each different spot that they walk through because they're walking through his state. And that was translated into the movie adaptation as one little girl, which was taken from the other, deposits of little girls and creepy looking locals. So, that little detail, should I be so fastidious and, so nitpicky about my details? I can't help it. It's the way I am. I loved this movie. I love seeing Stephen King as the executive producer credit on this film. The actors were fantastic. Everything is about it was really, really good. Go see The Long Walk.
I totally agree with everything you said. Um, my number three, him. Yeah, buddy. I love how that was on your worst of list. Yes, let's talk about
I
it. All
know
right,
two of my
so
worst lists, Weapons and Him,
are going to
is
be
going to
on
be
my
in your
side.
top five.
I know.
I
So,
just so wait. Quick recap. We're on your number three. What was your five and four?
Sinners and Together.
Okay, so you have him in the number three spot. Please regale us As to why.
So him, a lot like Together, built on the backs of two amazing performances.
Amazing performances.
That whoever played the lead, the young guy, I'm sure he's
Yeah,
going to be great
he is.
in his future in Hollywood. Marlon Wayans, uh, never ever in a million years would I have thought I'd get a performance like that out of him. Oh my
My
god.
apologies to Marlon. I said Damon. I apologize, Marlon, because your performance was phenomenal.
Yeah. Um, I love everything about this movie. I love the football culture. I love the strangeness, the almost, it would be wacky if it was like played loud for comedy, but it's so subtle and subdued and creepy, and I love every moment. Every day he has new challenges as he goes through Marlon Wayans' training camp to be the goat, to be the new goat. Um, Not knowing that he's being set up for a gladiatorial combat against Marlon himself. He's building this guy up as a mentor, and he doesn't know that he has to fight him to the death in order to take his job. So there's a lot of interesting twists, and the ending is so fun and brutal
And it was satisfying as fuck.
and bright. You'll notice a lot of amazing shots and cinematography tricks in this movie, and this movie is extremely dark and hidden, and you have to pay attention to everything visually. You have to pay attention to the word usage to get all the subtext, and then the last 5 minutes of the movie is bright sunlight outdoors. The main color they use is white with flags, and the dress that Marlon Wayans' character's wife wears, and very much like the ending to Substance is kind of um, a breath of fresh air tonally to the rest of the film. Like you're in a dungeon being browbeaten for 90 minutes, and then for 10 minutes you get you get to breathe, and you get to
Yeah.
watch like insane kills and blood splatters and
Yeah.
just a little bit of mania, and it's so refreshing, done so well. Do I think this guy's the next big thing in Hollywood? Do I agree with Jordan Peele? I don't know if I agree with Jordan Peele. I probably got to see a second or third movie out of this guy before I would make a statement like that. But yeah, this movie was pretty, and the performances were amazing. So for me, you know, my top five is obviously not technical best movies of 2025. It's my favorite five movies. I watched Sinners once. I watched Together twice. I've seen him four times, and I have it on Blu-ray. So, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, him is solid. Like, just
So,
just excellent.
whether was your top one and top two just so much better that you couldn't put him higher because you definitely enjoyed it? What could him have done to get a higher slot from the Haas?
It probably would have had to like affect me emotionally, which the next two definitely do. I like to, the reason I love horror so much is to feel things. Um, you know, I don't think a lot of comedies are funny. I don't necessarily enjoy dramas. I'll watch a sci-fi or a fantasy, whatever. But horror movies scare me, and when they scare me, I feel something. And when horror movies can move me, that's when I really, really enjoy them. Sinners didn't move me. Action horror generally doesn't do that. That's why that genre is so, or that subgenre is so low on my list. But still, I have to appreciate it, so I bring it to the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I was moved by Together. I was moved by him. I just wasn't moved more. I was moved more by him than I was by Together. Um, but these next two are bangers.
My number two film would be my number one film. Go back and watch the episode if they just ended it just 2 minutes sooner. As soon as the eyeballs join in together is when they should stop, cut, roll credits. Phenomenal. You nailed it. But then they just kept going, and we got that god awful amalgamation at the end. I absolutely loved, despite that, loved Together. It is my number two film of the year. Alison Brie is just phenomenal in everything she does. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to resubscribe to Netflix just to watch Glow again. So good.
So good.
So good. And I didn't know how good it's Dave Franco, right?
Dave Franco, yeah.
I had no idea how good he was. I'd never seen him really before this. Just great, fantastic actor. Go back and watch the episode. Clearly, Haas and I both love this movie. Go See Together is definitely one of the best. Haas, what is in your two slot?
And my two slot goes to Bring Her Back.
Woof.
The second, yeah, right? The second movie from the guys who brought us Talk to Me last year. Talk to Me, which was my best of. I believe it wasn't last year. It was 2023. And Talk to Me was my number one. That you could go back to season 3 of the podcast to check that out. Um, Bring Her Back is, as I was just saying with him, is an emotional, like,
Mhm.
gut punch, then throat punch, then
Mhm.
uppercut. It just does not stop. Like
It's a flawless movie.
every time this movie takes a beat, like a story beat, you get knocked down a peg
Mhm.
until the end, in the pool, when you are as low as you can go, and then it delivers a very satisfying, ending, wrap up. It Wow, wow, that's all I can say. And
Yeah.
the horror, let alone the story, the horror in Bring Her Back, which is it's a few scenes here, a few scenes there. It's pretty light in gore. They are extremely effective when they
Yeah.
do decide to use it.
Great movie, flawless movie. I have a really shitty reason for not having it in my top five. It is not my number one. Um, it scared the shit out of me. Which go ahead, leave the comments. How much I'm pissing you off with that comment? Yeah, I know that's the point. This is a flawless movie. It is relentless. It does not stop. I agree with everything you said, Haas. This movie deserves all the accolades and all the actors in it. Just amazing performance after amazing performance. Everything we've nitpicked and criticized and complained about in every other movie just does not exist. Start to finish, just a rock solid film.
Rock solid. All right, Stephen Anthony.
Here we are.
I already know what it is, but why don't you tell the folks at home?
I wish you could write it down just in case you were wrong.
Uh,
But we're going to take you at your word. Dark Claw Studios loved Rule of Jenny Penn.
yeah, I
That
know
is
this
my
one.
number one movie. Saw it early, and then you see another movie, and you see Sinners, and you see Control Freak, and you see all these great, and you see Together, and you see Weapons, you see all these great movies, and it's like, this is number one, this is number one, but then a little bit of time goes by, and you're able to look back on it and reflect. Um, this movie, I like the supernatural stuff. There's absolutely nothing supernatural in it, but it satisfied my craving for that stuff with just some of the scene shots and the way the director of photography just relayed the story. It was just so fantastic. I'm not a Jeffrey Rush fan. Loved him in this movie. John Lithgow has it for me for best performance, and the script and everything else about this movie is just as flawless for me. Rule of Jenny Penn is my absolute number one.
Yeah, I have to agree with a lot of what you said about Real Jenny Penn. It was the performances were out of control. I loved how ambiguous the potential paranormal doll is. Like
Yeah.
as a movie goer, you're watching the movie and you're like, is that is he just crazy? Is he not crazy and just uses that as a weapon? Or
Yes.
is that really paranormal? Like through the whole until you know, until you definitively know because of the story and how it evolves, you're questioning, and the performances from Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow. our next year.
Go back and watch the episode of the podcast of the recently deceased where we talked about it. But the horror is, the system we talked about. We compared it to Bring It Back with the orphan foster system. We're all going to get older, and if we don't take care of our stuff, we are going to wind up in a place like that. But the dementia that's also in that movie is, a possible fear. Maybe it'll come for you, maybe it won't. But they wove it into the tapestry of the script so very well. Just yeah, I still talk about that movie to my coworkers where I'm working in a nursing home right now. Uh, so good, so good. I think about it all the time, and I am nothing like John Lithgow at work. So there you go.
All right. My number one best film of
Here it comes from the Haas.
2025, Weapons. Yeah, man. Weapons. Like, what can I say about Weapons?
Say something.
I loved the chapter by chapter. I love the pacing. It starts with a long chapter, and then a shorter chapter, and then a shorter chapter, and then a shorter. And so you can feel the acceleration of the film, because each chapter is a different character. So each chapter has to show you less because you've already seen some of it from another character's perspective. So that's one of the reasons the chapters are shorter. But the other reason is that you do get this artificial sense of acceleration, of it ramping up as it just goes a little faster and then a little faster, and all the expositions in the early chapters, and most of the action is almost all of the action is in the later chapters, and it really just builds you up and like gets the adrenaline pumping towards the end for the big finish, in the final chapter, which is the boy Alex, and where you learn everything that's actually going on, and then it transitions to the climax. Um, Excellently written, great performances from everyone. Obviously, Gladys is my pick for performance of the year. Uh, I loved the mystery. I loved the order it chose to reveal said mysteries. Um, I'm not even that big a fan of like witches and witchcraft and stuff in horror movies, but they did such a good job of it just being part of the world. Nobody had time to ask questions or to get convoluted explanations, or so yeah. So it uses witchcraft, but it doesn't really um, sit on any known stereotypes. It's
Hmm.
just this old woman, and she casts a couple spells, and she does these spells in a weird way.
Yeah.
And luckily, Alex pays a close enough attention to use her magic against her at the end. Um, and yeah, does she get her comeuppance? She absolutely does, and she gets it in the worst way,
The
which if
best worst way. So
the
good.
best worst way, which if you paid attention as well, is a threat she posed to Alex earlier in the film, which I thought was just like beautiful, um, catharsis for the character, for me as the viewer. Um, Another great thing I love, just to name Zach Kreger, writer director, who also did Barbarian a few years back, which was my best of 2022. Um, and yes, objectively, Barbarian is a better movie, um, but Weapons is still so good. Zach Kreger has a very similar path in my mind as Jordan Peele, right? Get Out, Us, Nope, right? He just did Barbarian, now Weapons. Now he's a guy whose horror career, we're all going to want to track.
Yeah, and that's legitimate, and that's not hype, and that's not a sycophantic comment. That is legit. Um, I really enjoy how your number one performance is also your number one film. How my number one performance is also my number one film. I wish I liked Weapons more. I acknowledge everything you said as being accurate. I just, the things you liked about it were the things I didn't. Nevertheless, I cannot detract or take away anything that movie did right. Everything you said was is absolutely accurate. Um, it was really, really good movie. I wish I enjoyed it more than I did. What else about? Is there anything else about Weapons that just stands out for you that just makes it the movie of the year?
Um, Not the movie of the year. I just have one like Easter egg that I want to mention that it's just like 'cause, like Hollywood. You talk about like close knit communities, and for the most part, a lot of these people are all friends and like little niche groups, and because you can tell you got the Sandler people and you got the Judd Apatow people, and
And the Tim Burton people,
yeah,
and
yeah, like everybody, they all have their own little groups.
they have their
So
working relationships that they prefer to work with, and every once in a while they'll branch out and go with somebody else, and yeah.
so there's a really touching Easter egg in Weapons that I want to bring up. That if you're a fan of Whitest Kids cool. If you're not, go back and watch the show. It was good. It was really good. Um,
Joe,
so, a show called The Whitest Kids You Know.
the
Uh,
whitest kids you know.
yeah, it was a sketch comedy show with five white kids. Um,
Okay,
one of which was Zach Kreger. This is where he comes from. He
got it.
comes from and another character on the show died this year, or died last year. He got drunk and fell off his balcony. Uh,
What a shitty way to die.
yeah, and obviously these guys are all best friends, and so there's a scene in Weapons which, if you don't know, you're wondering what the hell's going on. So there's a gay couple, and they sit down to have snacks, and their snacks are like chips and dip and carrots and dip, and then in the center of this piece is seven hot dogs.
Yes, the hot dogs.
Yeah, seven hot dogs. Oh, that's a reference to a Whitest Kids You Know sketch, and that was homage to his dead friend. The sketch.
Hoff, you dive so deep, and your analytical abilities are really it's awesome, man. I wish I could. I have it in some arenas of my life, but not horror movies. But that was a very touching use of your analytical prowess. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Big ups for that.
So real quick to wrap it up. The seven hot dogs sketch is the man who passed is the doctor, and another character on the show, Timmy, is the patient, and he says, "How many hot dogs in a week would you say, or no, how many hot dogs? Yeah, in a day, I think, do you eat?" And no, or how many hot dogs in a week, or whatever, do you eat? And the patient says, "I don't know, seven." And the doctor says, "Seven hot dogs a day?" The patient says, "Yeah, is that a lot?" And the doctor says, "Well, it's not a little."
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So anyway, it goes on, and it's a great sketch. It's one of their best sketches, and it was great to see the seven hot dogs in Weapons, especially if you like the show, you like these guys, you like Zach, you follow Zach's career. Um, it's definitely worth going back if you have any interest in these guys. So that's the last thing I wanted to say about Weapons.
Very, very nice. I have to follow up on this, even though we just gave away, our Academy Award and the show is over. The show is not over. I have an honorable mention, and I have a forgettable three, which, all the great movies that we saw. And let me also right now just take this moment to say, Haas, thank you very much for bringing me on to the podcast of the recently deceased. I love everything that 2025 gave us. Cannot wait to see what 2026 brings us, and especially for our own personal accomplishments in the horror arena with Basement Media and with Dark Claw Studios. Thank you for having me on. I really, really appreciated it, and look forward to what's coming. And with that, my honorable mention for 2025 is my favorite movie, the one that would just felt like a Dark Claw Studios project, was It Feeds. Love that movie. I wish the daughter gave a slightly better performance, but the mom was awesome. The villain was awesome. The script was fantastic. It's just the one that I just enjoyed. If I get something on Blu-ray, I think I might need a Blu-ray player for that. It will probably be It Feeds. Such a good movie, especially that was an independent movie, right, Haas?
Yeah, yeah, that would go in the indie category with 825 and Alma and the Wolf and The Home.
And Companion. So many good movies. What's your honorable mention? What did not crack your top five for you, Hoss?
Oh man, honorable mention is tough. Like when I did so many good movies this year, that was like my long list of honorable mentions. If I had to pick one out of the group, because I have the list right here and I'm staring right
Yep.
at it, oh
Yeah.
my god, it would either be, I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two.
Oh. Okay,
It's
and I'll
it's
tell you which one's right.
it's gonna be either the monkey, because it was so fun. It was so
It
fun.
was fun.
Like
It was fun.
we're talking about pure joy, like watching a
Yeah.
movie. Like
Yeah, just like our
yeah,
favorite movie that we
yeah.
acknowledge is not the best, but it's our favorite.
I would give it to the monkey
Wow.
or Control Freak. Would be my honorable
Wow.
mentions. Yeah, those are good.
Those are what two disparate movies. Not a whole lot in common. Just wow.
Well,
I enjoyed.
I just forgot about Control Freak when it came to list
I
making, and
know.
it was I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Kelly. I'm
I
sorry I
know.
forgot about Control Freak when I was making my lists. It was
I
so
felt the
good.
exact same way. My original list was from one to five. Rule of Jenny Penn, Together, Long Walk. Those three didn't change. But then It Feeds was four, and Almond and the Wolf was five. And then I remembered Sinners, and so that came in at five, and that pushed Almond and the Wolf out. And then I remembered Control Freak, so that pushed Sinners up
Sinners
to
up
four, and
and
pushed It Feeds out into the honorable mention.
right.
Um, so yeah, the Monkey was very very enjoyable. Obviously, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I had go back to the episode. I had my disagreements over the choices that was made from the differences in the book, but what a fun movie.
It was so much fun. Like the kills were just hilarious.
They were great.
And they all looked great. Like they didn't, there was a little bit of CG, but like mostly CG enhancement. Like the bees was what my big CG complaint, right? But for everything
Yeah,
else, they did an amazing job with. And
I I also love the comedic elements of that movie. I still think Theo James was not the perfect pick to play those two parts, but he's a great actor and he nailed it. I just thought he was just too damn pretty. The dad's performance when there's a sign that says no returns on toys and they're going to mention something, but he just, even though it's coming, he nails it. He's like, do not call this a toy. This is not a
this
toy.
is not
And,
so.
so great honorable mention there. What else? Do you have anything else you want to mention before I
uh,
move on to my
yeah.
forgettable three? Because the
No,
forgettable
no. Do your forgettable three. Everything I have to say is about the show.
my forgettable three has a very obvious strand of connective tissue running through all three of them. They are. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm gonna mention what a fun fucking movie that could have been just as good as Clown in the Cornfield or The Gorge or Monkey or anything else that we enjoyed that didn't crack the top, bottom, or middle. That made it so fucking bad, and in this case, forgettable, despite being a big budget movie. That scene at the end. Oh, did you hear about the person that haunted us and stalked us and tried to kill us? Like, did you know there's a sale going on for bananas at the local supermarket? Fuck you. Uh, just
Completely
sank the
forgettable.
entire. You just sank it. You just sank it. I don't
I,
even give a shit about the about Jennifer Love. You were going to go see Brandy. We talked about it. You
yeah.
you gave me the Strangers Like history of the franchise, and it was great. And that would have been bad. Okay, great. You're Hollywood, and you want not just my $10 this time around. You want my $15 next time. That's fine. Don't put shitty dialogue in there. It pissed me off so much. Megan 2.0. I enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed that movie. Yes, you're trying to shoehorn Megan to be the good guy the entire film, and for whatever reason, the version at the end of the movie that's Megan has all the growth, just like Loki did, even though she didn't experience it. So she's still a good guy from having gone through that journey, even though she didn't go through the journey. Nitpick of mine, but nevertheless, very enjoyable movie. But I forgot it completely when making this list. I just did not think of it. And last of my forgettable three, Conjuring Last Rites. What a great franchise. What a absolutely mediocre movie. I should remember it. It has a special asterisk in my life where I got to give great life advice to a moviegoer in the city that we share, where we sometimes see movies together. Despite that incredible, memorable moment for me personally, I forgot this movie completely, and it's not bad. It's just not good.
Yeah. The first two on your list, also completely forgot when making all of my lists. I never even considered the new I Know What You Did or Megan 2.0 for anything. And I completely forgot that they even came out this year until you brought it up.
And it's like it could be on the level of Until Dawn or Clown in the Cornfield, was just this great, enjoyable movie that you just and if something stuck out about it, if they put some originality in there, we could talk about that. We could enjoy it. Um, just complete Hollywood money grab, and the performances. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. So good, so fantastic, and wasted to the point where two horror fans, two horror writers doing a podcast about horror movies, forget about it. And they were so where Control Freak kind of like pushed itself back in. No, you will not forget about me. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Megan and Conjuring did absolutely nothing to spark that piece of memory synapse to fire whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Haas, for us as we wrap up this
All right.
2025 year in review.
Here we go. 2025, we made it. Special thanks to Stephen Anthony for joining me, the new co host of the podcast, as we wrap season five. As always, we take January off, so we won't see it till the first week of February with whatever Hollywood decides to send our way throughout the month of January, so we can kickstart our log of episodes for the year and season six.
Well, just in case something's out there, is there something the fans and myself should look forward to? Is there anything coming out soon that we can anticipate?
Uh,
Or is there nothing on the radar right now?
I mean, there's the remake of what's it called? Silent Night, Deadly Night. Silent Night, Deadly Night remake release date.
That typing on your keyboard sounds like you completely put that in post. That did not sound real.
I have a sweet keyboard. Looks like it hit theaters December 12th. Distributed by Bloody Disgusting. It's got 6.5 stars. 7 stars. Yeah, it should be good. Should be good. And yeah, if you were lucky enough to live in a place where it came into theaters, it definitely didn't come to theaters here. We'll be waiting for that on streaming. That might be the first. That might actually be the first movie we do in season six, since we didn't have our Christmas episode this year, because we've just been so busy, and this winter's been like madness for me. I had a surgery, a hernia. I've just been.
And you went back. So just to be clear, that hernia originated in Connecticut, which you just returned to.
Yes, I just returned from, and
So you are a courageous person. You would be a hero in a horror movie if that turned out.
I would love to be a final girl in anything.
Nice.
All right, with that, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. However you take in the media, please go watch good horror movies, especially in the movie theater. Keep the numbers up. Theaters are closing. Malls are closing. We do not want a world where media is piped directly to our televisions and phones, and we don't have to congregate anymore. That
Yeah.
that is a bad, bad, bad future, and I shouldn't have to explain why.
Definitely embrace art. Obviously Nate and I are both independent artists, just looking to make our impact and impact the world in a better way than how we left it, or how we came, leaving it better than how we came into it. So yeah, definitely support local artists on top of going to the movie theaters, and don't lose that part of not your humanity but our humanity. Join, get out there, and remember that we're all in this together, and art definitely has a place in that and a role in that. So Haas, thank you for that commentary. That was pretty awesome.
And from the podcast for the recently deceased, I am Hosferatu, Nate Roberts.
from Dog Claw Studios, the new podcast mate. Thanks again, Nate, for real. I am Stephen Anthony. Thank you guys so much.
And we'll see you next season.
Yeah, man.